And let's talk about Wanda Sykes. So Wanda Sykes is opening up about turning down Kevin Hart's roast, and basically said the reason why she did it is because them jokes was tired. Because we've come a long way in regards of the way the roast used to be. We had the Friars roast where people actually had to be clever with a lot of the jokes that they say. But these days, it's just like people just say all kinds of crazy stuff. They just go for the low hanging fruit, and if you don't laugh at it, then you're woke or you're a snowflake, or all the other dumb shit that people like to say. I was like, why is this thing not working? Thank you. Um, the other BS that people like to use to justify the fact that MF, you just not funny. So she basically said that she considers herself lucky to have opted out of fellow comedian Kevin Hart's recent roast. She said, just lazy, lazy writing. This is what she said on Thursday on Vulture's Good One podcast when asked what has gone wrong during last month's Netflix special, The Roast of Kevin Hart. She said, but I thought the same thing with the 2024 Tom Brady roast too. Seems like the roast that just recycled, sexist, racist, gay jokes. Like, come on. The Upshaw star said that Hart, who's a friend, had wanted her to participate. She said, Kevin called me before it was announced, and I said no. He said, come on, Wanda, come on. It'll be good. It'll be good for your special. You got a special coming out. I was like, Kevin, I love you, man. He goes, I know it's not your thing. I know it's not your thing. He's like, you'll just come in, do your thing, and get out of there. But if it's not her thing, why would you want her to do something that she's not comfortable doing? It's like, I'm not doing it. And what's going to happen is you're setting her up to be roasted by unfunny ass Tony Hinchcliffe and all the other ones that's up there. And it's like, I'm not partaking in the bullshit. So if that's not her thing and everybody ain't built to do roast, then that's just not her thing. She's now in answer to the question of whether she had consumed enough of the special to know if she made the right choice, Sykes was clear. She said, I consumed enough to go, thank God, she said candidly. Sykes went to the WNBA's Los Angeles Sparks game instead. As y'all know, the roast was hosted by Shane Gillis and a lineup of Chelsea Handler, Pete Davidson, Cheryl Underwood, Jeff Ross, Cat Williams, Tony Hinchcliffe, and more. And it goes to show that Cat Williams, I guess, buried the hatchet with Kevin Hart, because remember, they was not liking each other at one point. And Shane Gillis, remember at one point he was fired from, I think, SNL because he made like a racist joke, whatever. And I worked his show when he came to the Garden. He's actually pretty funny. Um, Cheryl Underwood also spoke about the roast when she co-hosted The View last week. So if y'all haven't gotten around to seeing that clip, definitely check that out. Ratings, as you know, were good with 13.5 million viewers, high enough for it to top in the English TV category, although slightly less than Brady's event, which racked up 13.8 million views in its first week on the streamer, according to Deadline. I'm not really, as y'all know, I'm not really a big fan of Kevin Hart. I never thought he was funny. I think he's just loud. He's obnoxious. He's annoying. He makes my teeth itch. I just think that he's not funny. And we already know the type of coon he likes to act as. He's somebody who's seduced by the Hollywood money. He likes being this court jester or the butt of the joke. And when it came down to holding people like Tony Hinchcliffe, who is not funny at all, he just thinks that by saying the most egregious, racist, homophobic, most deplorable things that is being funny. But my thing is, if you're going to say something that is deeply offensive or it better be earth-shattering funny, meaning you better swing big. And if you miss, which he did miss a lot, and if y'all saw, like, what is so funny about when you do a Trump rally, which there's never in the history of political rallies have we had comedians open up a rally and then refer to Puerto Rico as a floating pile of garbage? Where is the laugh track in there? Oh, where's the funny in that? Oh, you just said something. You're justifying your racism. And that's what people want to do. It's like low hanging fruit. That's funny now. And it's like, no, it's not funny. It's just obnoxious. And I love an offensive joke. Now, speaking of racist and sexist, Chelsea Handler found the jokes from both Gillis and Hinchcliffe to be racist and sexist. And she said it was ick. It was gross. This is what she said on the May 20th episode of Funny Knowing You podcast with Dion Cole. She also pointed to a joke Gillis had made about lynching, while Hinchcliffe used the suicide of Underwood's husband to get a laugh, which I'm glad that Cheryl went and got her lick back in regards to that. Wait, hold on. Let me see if I can find um that clip on The View. I'm starting to think Cardi must have got her tits done, because now this is the funny that came up. It was like her boobs are just ginormous. I don't want him. I don't want him up there. I'm trying to see if I can find that clip. I probably won't be able to. Oh wait, did I find it? Um no, that's the Trump NBA Finals thing. We don't care about that because the Knicks already won. So oh well, I actually found, hopefully we don't get in trouble for this one. So I did find one um for the Breakfast Club on what she had to say on that. We could play that one. But I heard like the Breakfast Club could be pretty annoying, because it's like if you post any of their stuff, they like to come at you. But I'm gonna try to change the audio in regards to that, the speed, so that way it won't be too bad. And we'll come back into
Tony Hinchcliffe walks up to me and he says, "I'm Tony Hinchcliffe." I said, "What's up?" You know, and he said, "Well, you know, I'm on the roast," which, because they didn't want us to know who was on it, but I knew some people were coming. I said, "So," and I just asked him, I said, "How you coming?" He said, "Well, I'm gonna talk about your husband killing himself and you being raped."
Why did you agree?
Jesus Christ. It's not that I agree.
Okay.
Not that I agree. Can I, just as a comic, say to you what you can and cannot say? I can't. I can only make a recommendation, but I can't tell you. I can't say, if we on a show together, I can't say to her, "Don't tell the whoop whoop wop wop joke." I can say, "Well, I'm gonna tell some jokes similar," but I'm the type of comic that if we doing the same type of material, right? If we both doing head jokes, right? And which that's my one good skill.
Yeah.
I know how. That's
right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. I know how to put them to sleep. Right? What surgery are we doing today? Are we taking appendix out? Let's go, right? But I can't tell you don't do oral sex jokes. But if I'm a good leader and I'm hosting the show, I do my jokes behind your joke. That makes the show stronger.
So that's not an equivalent of your husband killing himself and you being
raped. But I can't agree to that. It's in the public domain that my husband committed suicide. I talked about it. I talked about it on the top. It's in the public domain. The way they roast now, whatever's in the public domain, they feel they should be able to say it, and they're making a lot of money off of it. But here's the thing, to talk about, and I felt a lot of people, you a coon, and they love to throw that shit around, you a coon. Here's the thing, if you can use it to talk about certain things, use it to talk about mental illness in Black men, that my husband committed suicide. You don't have to just uplift the jokes they told by criticizing them, because it's all clickbait. Then if you want to talk about me being raped, you talk about sexual violence. I talked about it. I talked about that it was some street dudes that was very protective of me, and they said, if we find the motherfuckers that did it, we gonna kill them. I was like, hey man, don't do that on my behalf. But that is sexy as mug. That's thorough shit that you were gonna do that for me, right? So I've talked about it. So it's not in, I'm not in concurrence or agreement of it, and I don't even know how it's coming, right? I just know they respected me enough to walk up to me and say, that's how we coming. So when he said that, how did you respond? Yeah, I said, I looked at him, I like, so what the fuck you want? And I said, just like that, what the fuck you want? He said, well, what you feel? I said, it better be funny. I said, it better be funny. If it ain't funny, I'm gonna get your ass. I said, I'll get you. I said, but I smiled at him. I said, listen, do what you got to do. Why? Because I know these manosphere comics are getting out there. That's why I say what I say. You're bringing back words that when we were using them, we got canceled. So what is funnier, midget or little people? What is funny, retarded or disabled? Right? So you move so far politically correct that they pushed it back. So now they get to use words. But it's about accountability. For me, the George Floyd joke, I was like, you a trip, right? But then I also thought, and I told Tony, when I went and did kill Tony, I said, listen to me. I asked him, I said, you want to record something with me? And I was wearing this shirt, and I wore it today specifically. You know what date this is?
1831.
Nat Turner. So listen, sometimes you can lead the rebellion in a different way, right? So my feeling was, you ain't got to deal with me. You got to deal with the George Floyd family. You got to deal with those in the community that love George Floyd. You got to deal with somebody walking up to you throwing hands, and you can't do shit about it because you're a little motherfucker. What you gonna do? Because you told the joke. Now be held accountable for the joke. I don't want my laughing on a roast panel to be misconstrued as anything other than these are my colleagues. This is how they roast nowadays. It's not like Dean Martin and Pearl Bailey and Phyllis Diller. Milton Berle told some of the best dick jokes in the world. Why? Because he had a big ass dick and he's not attractive in the face, but he was blowing the backs out of all them starlets in the 40s and the 50s. The Friars Club roast sure did. And Friars Club roast were private events where we were ragging on each other. When comics talk about each other, it's misogynistic, it's racial, it's racist, it's borderline. But they make a lot of money on the type of humor they do, which is bigotry and racist and racial, right? They making a force. They selling out stadiums doing this shit.
Can
right?
Black people do that to them is the question that I think a lot of people
Yes,
have.
we can. Yes, we can.
Why don't more Black people do it? Like, why don't they make jokes about their community and things that they consider taboo?
We do.
Okay.
We do. Paul Mooney was walking motherfuckers out of Carolina.
Out
of Carolina. They white people cussing Paul. They be like, I
Absolutely.
never will. Goddamn it, you will today.
I've seen it.
Right?
I've seen it a few times.
Yeah, Carolina.
I seen white people get up and leave.
Yes.
And Paul be like, yes. He'd be
Yes.
so happy.
Right. That's right. One of the first jokes I wrote was, what go good with chili?
Crackers.
Now that you done brought up white people, let's talk about their motherfucking ass.
Well, that was the first time I heard that damn joke, but I was like, crackers. And look, that's what I be saying. Like, if you're gonna swing big, bitch, because that's what it is now. They want to sell racism and homophobia and rape and all these controversial things as being funny. And it's like, no, there's cleverness in telling those jokes. So I do agree. Like, if you're gonna talk about somebody's husband unaliving themselves, then drive home a situation as a teachable moment about mental health within the Black community, especially amongst Black men. That's when you go with the whole story instead of, oh, look, I said something controversial. Tee, ooh, ooh. And if you have a problem with it, oh, you're just soft. Oh, you're a snowflake. But you have to realize if you're going to stand 10 toes down on that joke, you got to be able to stand 10 toes down on the repercussions that come with that. And that's why I don't like people like Tony Hinchcliffe, because they think that, oh, well, I should be able to say all the most offensive shit. And you can say the most offensive shit that you want, but you have to know there's consequences that come with that. And these people who want justification in their misogyny and their homophobia and their transphobia and their racism and stuff, they're the ones who go and well, she said they selling out stadiums. Tony Hinchcliffe is selling out arenas. He ain't selling out no damn stadium. Like, he's doing 2 nights in August in Madison Square Garden, and I'm making sure I'm blacking out those 2 days because I've worked his show enough times already. And I remember I would have conversations with a lot of the older like guys you would think like, okay, they voted for Trump from Long Island. That's what they're like. This motherfucker ain't funny at all. This shit is annoying. They ready to go home. I be laughing because of their reaction to the fact that, yeah, we got to sit and hear this offensive, unfunny bullshit coming from Tony Hinchcliffe and all these other half-breed, cockeyed, retarded looking ass comedians. Y'all got up here telling they 10-second jokes, or usually was it like 60 seconds they get up there and tell a joke, and they be getting booed or people just laugh or whatever. Cam, one of the guys from SNL, came from Kill Tony. So they're starting to infiltrate our situation. But this is cute or whatever. This is going probably, I guess, going to last up until the Trump regime is kaput. And then we'll see how comedy will have to reshape itself. But yeah, Paul Mooney was a king. I used to live for Paul Mooney back in the day. I wish he was alive today because he would roast the dog shit out of a lot of these comedians. I really wish that he was alive today so we could hear what he had to say on this. But yeah, so that interview with Wanda is up on YouTube if you want to check it out. Shout out to Cheryl Underwood for saying what she said. I wish I could have found that clip of her on The View, but the one she just did with the Breakfast Club, that was even better. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of what was said here in regards of the line regarding comedy? Like I said, I love a funny, offensive joke. I love raunchy humor. I like stuff, I say crazy shit on this show, not to the detriment of hurting people's feelings, but I say stuff and I roast and gag and all other stuff, but you have to be smart and clever in the delivery and not just thinking, oh, I could make a joke about juzz, but really you talking about guzz, because that's the same similar joke that he was trying to get at when Tony was up there looking like a burnt burrito with that horrible fucking tan, telling them tired ass, unfunny ass jokes during that Kevin Hart roast, and Kevin sitting up there, because his feet can't touch the ground. He's so damn little, like a 4-year-old, 4'2" midget, trying to laugh and trying to overcompensate for the fact that he knew them jokes wasn't fucking funny. But had the nerve to perch his little ass in that little stool up there on the Breakfast Club, his little high chair, and sit up there on the Breakfast Club talking about he had the funniest set. And I'm like, in what multiverse? Because Tony ain't never been funny. Like I told y'all before, he did a night at the Garden where it was supposed to be a Tony Hinchcliffe comedy special, couldn't even sell out past the 6th floor. And we have a multitude of, we got 11 floors in the Garden. He could only sell the floor, which is the 5th floor, and the 100, which is the 6th floor. You couldn't even sell beyond that. But Kill Tony, that's sold out because that has a much more significant name to it. And you have other comedians that can come in and be a part of that podcast. But Tony Hinchcliffe by himself couldn't sell water to, a camel. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below.